Welcome to the Early Human Food Simulation classroom video. In this game, you'll be playing as a group of elders leading a tribe of hunter-gatherers. To play, each group needs a copy of the hunter-gatherer game board. Make sure you start with this side up. A copy of the hunter-gatherer success board. Again, make sure that you have this side up. A hunter-gatherer event deck. Counters to represent families. The one on the right represents one family. The one on the left represents 5 families. If an effect would ever remove a group's last family, ignore it and keep playing. Please keep this rule in mind as you play. Each group will also need food counters. The one on the left represents 1 food. The one on the right represents 5 food. Each group also needs piety counters. Stone Age people believed in the ability of spirits to influence events, and piety measures how friendly these spirits are. 2 piety counters could be spent to prevent the death of a single family. Please keep that rule in mind. If you are using physical dice, it should be noted that reading a 4-sided dice can be difficult, as the number you roll might be at the top or the bottom. The number that should be read is the one that is flat. In this case, the 1 and 3 are at strange angles, so they are not the correct number. However, the 4 is flat, and therefore is the correct number, so this dice would be a 4. Keep in mind that for this game, high rolls are always good. Now would be a good time to pause to break into groups and hand out materials. Once all materials have been handed out, please place 3 family counters in the tribe section of the board. When you're done, your board should look like this. As you can see, 3 family counters have been placed in the tribe section. You will now be asked a question. If your group gets it right, gain 1 piety. Please note, you are not in competition with other groups. Each group should discuss and answer the question themselves. Every group that gets it correct will get 1 piety. Which of the following statements about early human beings is false? A. Human beings are very adaptable, and so were able to spread out into many different environments. B. They originated in Asia. C. Being able to form groups helped human beings to hunt more effectively and more safely. Or D. Despite lacking natural weapons like claws and teeth, humans can make tools, making up for that deficiency. Please pause the video until you're ready for me to give the correct answer. And the correct answer was B. They originated in Asia. That is a false statement. Now you should draw a card from the top of the blank deck, the deck that doesn't have anything on its back. It's these kind of gray cards here, and follow the instructions. In this case, the card tells you to add 1 family counter to your tribe. Some cards ask you to do something later, so don't forget. Now it's time to use the hunter-gatherer food check. We're going to see how successful your hunter-gatherer tribe was at finding food. Please note, you'll roll a dice, and you would place 1s to the right where it says that. You don't get a food for those. 2s and 3s to the right of that box. You would get 1 food for those, and 4s to the right of that box. You would get 2 counters for that. So now if we were to roll 1d4 for each family counter in your tribe, the tribe I've been using because it had that card has 4 families. You might have 3 or you might have 2, but in any case, roll a number of dice equal to your number of families and add that many food counters to your packs. This is how we do it. Let's say I rolled a 1, a 3, and a 4, and a 4. In that case, I would place the 1 here at the top, the 3 in the middle, and the 2 4s on the bottom. I would gain no food from the 1, 1 food from the 3, and 2 food from each of the 2 4s. 1 plus 2 plus 2 is 5. So I would place 5 food on my board. All right, now we need to feed our people. You would remove 1 food marker from your packs for each family counter in your tribe. For example, if you had 4 people in your tribe, like I do, you would remove 4 food. If you do not have enough food, you must remove 1 family counter and place it in the burial grounds for each food you lack. For example, if I only had 2 food, I would have to place 2 family members in the burial grounds. Another example, if you have 7 family counters but only 5 food counters, you'd remove 2 family counters to the burial ground. However, remember, you can remove 2 piety counters to prevent having to remove a family counter, as the spirits decided to help you out. But what happens if you have more food than people, as I did, right? I had 5 food but 4 tribe members. If there is a food counter left in your packs, remove it and add 1 family counter to your tribe. Repeat this step until your pack contains no more food. Right? So if you have 2 extra food, you would add 2 people. 3 extra food, you would add 3 people. The key thing, though, is at the end of your turn, you should have no food left. Right? All the food should be either eaten or converted into people. Right? So, like I said, we would need to remove our 4 food. We have 5. That would leave us with 1 food. We would then remove that 1 food, and we would now have 5 family members. Congratulations, you've successfully completed 1 round. You can now continue the game at your own pace by using the question deck or another form as your instructor. Congratulations, you have successfully completed 1 round. You can now continue the game at your own pace by using the question deck or another means provided by your instructor. But before you begin, let's review the turn order. The first step, one player will draw a question card and read it to the other players. If they answer correctly, the group gains 1 piety. Step 2, draw a card and follow its instructions. Step 3, roll 1d4 for each family counter in your tribe and use the food check chart to see how many food counters you add to your packs. Step 4, remove 1 food marker from your packs for each family counter in your tribe. If you do not have enough food, you must remove 1 family counter and place it in the burial grounds for each food you lack. You can remove 2 piety counters to prevent having to remove a family counter. The spirits decided to help you out. Step 5, if there is a food counter left in your packs, remove it and add 1 family counter to your tribe. Repeat this step until your pack contains no more food. Step 6, go back to step 1. Instructors, please pause here and allow students to continue until you're ready for them to go to the next phase. I have good news for you. Your people have learned to farm and settle down in a village rather than moving around. This will require some changes. First, remove, but don't put away families and piety. You're not losing them, right? You're not losing them. Don't get rid of them. Don't put them with the other families in piety. Just move them to the side. Next, you are going to flip over your board or receive another board from your teacher, and you'll move your families into the village farm section of that board and your piety into the shrine. Notice that now that you live in a village, things are a little bit different. Another change is you're going to get a new event deck. Please put away the cards from the other deck. It's important to note that things that gave you bonuses now go away. Those bonuses have been replaced by farming. So you should receive a new deck. The new deck includes event cards as well as specialist cards. They are placed in the workshop, right? The specialist cards go in the workshop. Specialist cards eat food but do not farm. But they do have special effects. For instance, if you have a potter in your workshop, you do not have to remove 4 family counters if you should draw the pest infestation event. Right? The potter, because they allow for the production of storage pots, these prevent the negative effects of the pest infestation card, meaning you would not have to remove the 4 counters. Some specialist cards provide a bonus if another card has the same positive effect. For instance, both the Weapon Maker and Boyer and Fletcher cards prevent the same negative effects. Both prevent Animal Attack and Bandit Raid cards. Therefore, if you have 2, the second, and if you should get a third one, provide additional food instead. So please do read the cards carefully. As a reminder, specialist cards go into the workshop. So we're going to go through another turn. Things are a little bit different, and then you'll be able to go back to working through on your own. So the first step is answer a question posed by your instructor or me. If you answer correctly, add 1 piety marker to your shrine. In this case, which of the following statements is false? Cooking food makes it easier to digest, allowing human beings to have smaller stomachs and larger brains. B, the complexity of human language helps human beings express complex ideas and develop complex organizations. C, the fact that the character of the earth makes it so water can exist as a liquid and fire can burn is key to human success. Or D, early human beings had no concept of religion, as can be seen in the fact that they simply abandoned the dead rather than burying them carefully. Instructors, please pause the video until you're ready to have the answer. And the correct answer is D, so please give yourself a piety. Step 2, draw a card from the event deck and resolve it. If you draw an event, such as pest infestation, and have no way to prevent the negative effects, by having a specialist, you can remove 3 piety counters to prevent those negative effects. For example, if we did not have this Potter, we could pay 3 piety and we would not have to lose the 4 family counters. After you resolve the event, place that card at the bottom of the deck. At this point, your instructor should give you new dice. You'll be switching from 4-sided dice to more traditional 6-sided dice. You will also now be using a different food success chart. In this case, you will see that there's 1 additional row to reflect the fact that we have 6 sides now instead of 4, but the principle is still the same. You would roll 1d6 for each family in your village farm, and then use the food check chart to see how many food counters to add to your granary. So let's say that we had 5 families and we rolled 5 dice, and our result looked like this. We wouldn't get any food for the 1, but we would get 1 food each for the 2, 3, and 4, making for 3 food, and we'd get 3 food for the 6. If we have a specialist who gives us additional food, we need to remember to add that. We would then remove 1 food counter from our granary for each family counter in our village farm and each specialist card that we possess. Right? So specialists do not make food. They do other things, but they still have to eat food. So remember to also feed them. If you do not have enough food, you must remove 1 family counter or specialist card, your choice, and place it in the graveyard for each food you lack, or remove 2 piety counters for each family to protect them. If you have more food than you need, move it and add that many additional family counters to the village farm space. You can now continue the game at your own pace by using the question deck or another means provided by your instructor. As a reminder though, here is the round order. Remember, you will draw and answer a question card, adding a piety counter if you answer correctly. You will draw a card and resolve it. You can remove 3 piety counters to prevent the negative effects from an event. After you resolve the event, place that card at the bottom of the event deck. You would then roll 1d6 for each family counter in your village farm, and use the food check chart to see how many food counters to add to your granary. Also check to see if your specialist cards grant you additional food. Step 4, everyone eats. Remove 1 food for each family and each specialist in your village. If you do not have enough food, remove 1 family or specialist for each food you lack. Your choice. If there is a food counter left in your granary, remove it and add 1 family counter to your village farm. Repeat this step until you have no more food. Step 6, go back to step 1. Instructors, when you're ready to continue, please unpause the video. Instructors, please pause the video until you're ready to continue. At this point, it would be good to see what your population is and to see which team has the highest population. To determine your population, add up the total specialists and the family counters. Instructors, please pause the video here until you're ready to continue on to the questions for reflection. Questions for reflection. Instructors, please pause after each question until you're ready to continue. Why do you think the simulation shifted from using a D6 Why do you think the simulation shifted from using a four-sided dice, a d4, to a six-sided dice, a d6, for food production? How did the event cards impact the simulation? Why might they have been included? Why do you think that the specialist cards were added? How did the specialist cards impact the simulation? What else did you learn about the transition from hunting and gathering to agriculture from this simulation? How well did your group do? Why do you think things turned out the way they did?